which is the new Secretary General of Commonwealth, as a Ghanaian.
Shirley
Ayokobotwe, the Ghanaian diplomat, our Minister of Foreign Affairs, and of course, she's a daughter of the Greater Accra. She's a Ghana, so to speak, as it were. So her success is a success for us all. We pray that Allah gives her the wisdom, the know-how, and of course the tenacity of purpose to handle the Commonwealth as we would like to see it. I pray and hope that she does a good job at it come April 2025, inshallah.
Great. Appiah Danquah.
Yeah, so let me wish yourself a good morning, your lovely listeners. A good morning, my two friends here. A very good morning. Yeah, I had a very quiet weekend. Rested, worked a bit. I tried to read for myself for the week ahead, and fortunately, I'm here, and I hope I can do my little bit in the call to rescue our country.
I see. Godwin.
I have had quite an interesting weekend. From Friday, I have been campaigning in the Volta region, starting from Ketu South. I went to retail the campaign in the communities, from Agbozome right to the border, the Togo border. You know, once you are there, you lose your network. You begin to have Togo, they call it Togo cell, something, and then Saturday, I did a health walk with South Tong. Then later in the evening, I went to Central Tong, the Mafikumasi enclave. So my weekend has been extremely, usually what I do is that from Monday to Thursday, I do the court rounds. Then weekends, I enter into the constituencies to campaign.
You didn't bring any good Gary from Mafikumasi?
You know. So our people are calling people like you, Johnny Hughes and co, to advocate for a proper factory. I was thinking that when the government talked about one village, one district, one factory and stuff, they'll look at the various areas, appreciate the competitive advantages that those areas, the Mafi enclave is like the cassava, hub of the country. So they farm a lot of cassava. And if you don't have off-taker agreement with people who will come and buy either for the breweries. Now some of the breweries are using cassava for beer. Then they are forced to use it for gari. And the gari too, the issue about weighing is key. The big people from Accra and others who come and buy it in bulk have their own weighing, skills and others, So it creates a whole lot of issues. So that has been the
weekend for
me. But go ahead.
Sorry, let's begin. We don't have too much time, so I want us to quickly manage the time. I'll give you gentlemen 2 minutes each. Let's talk about Cynthia Morrison and what's happening in Agona West. Come out, 2 minutes, and we'll stick with the time so that we can have conversations.
Thank you very much. Listening to Madam Cynthia Morrison herself, she says the matter is under investigation.
That's correct.
Of course, she has first-hand information, may deliver that to the police, or of course, whoever is involved would also talk to the police, as it were. But see, violence should not have place in our politics at all. I have been to Nigeria, I've been to other countries where, of course, violence has actually played key role in politics and all that, and it never augured well for them. It never gave birth to something positive. But I have always maintained that, look, we are brothers despite everything. My good brother sitting here believes in what he believes in. Edudzi believes in what he believes in. I believe in what... It should be war of ideologies and ideas, basically. I mean, nothing stops myself and Edudzi to have lunch together, to have dinner together.
Right.
The fact that he's MPP and she said he's NDC and I'm MPP does not make us foes or enemies, not at all. And this contest, whatever we do, one person will emerge as a winner, no matter what. And the people are going to elect a representative for themselves to go to parliament and represent them. That would actually be decided at the polls. So whether I am going to use a cutlass on someone, I'm going to use a gun on someone, does not make you who you want to be. That's the point. So I will say, all of us who are key stakeholders in this matter, let us communicate this to our followers. Let them understand that violence has no space in whatever we do. To say we have DNA, violence in our DNA, we can give them a good one, that is not what we want. Ghana has moved. We've gotten to a level where, look, vigilantism, whatever you call it, or thuggery should not be given space in our politics. Look, I want to have peace. I want to enjoy myself. My brother wants to do the same. He has left family at home. He has to travel, all the way from Accra to the Volta region to campaign. His wish is that I go and come back in good health. And that's the same wish his family has for him. The same way I have. So I would not like to wake up to listen to these things on radio, on TV, or whatever. Your idea is that I want to belong to Movement for Change. That's my idea. My idea is I want to belong to MPP. That's my idea. And that does not make us enemies, for God's sake.
I see.
No matter what, we would have to be together. And I think the media have to play a role here, please. With a great respect. There are some things that the media also fund.
Like what? We should not report it.
No, we not. Nobody is saying don't report it. You see, cherry picking of reportage is also another thing.
We reported when the MPP, there's the MPP PC also had a similar attack. And then Cynthia Morrison. We reported both.
All these things. No, I'm saying the media has a role to play. You should be at the center to ensure that we champion some of these messages and let them understand that we de-escalate some of these things to help us.
Appiah Danquah, what do you think?
You see, I think what is happening, or what happened over yesterday, what happened to Alan's rep in the Northeast.
That's right.
8 of our compatriots who lost their lives when they were exercising their constitutional right, and all the violent issues that has happened in our democratic exercise represents a massive failure of leadership in this country to build that right political culture that tolerates diverse views.
Right. I get you.
And I've been listening to you, and even the reaction of government, some political parties, where people are exercising their right to free thought.
Right.
Itself is a problem, and that negative culture, the culture of intolerance, is what is leading to these issues. And for me, unless the people of Ghana hold leadership accountable, not just in terms of their failures with the economy, but in building that right political culture, that's the only way we can sustain this democracy. Because we need to understand that one of the fundamental principles that underpins our democracy is political pluralism.
Right.
In fact, people can have diverse views. And I sit on all fours with what my brother here is saying. But I think it's important that government realizes that part of their core mandate is to build that right political culture.
Right.
The political parties recognize that it's also their mandate that all of us who have the privilege, it's not a right, I don't have a right to be here, but who have the privilege should communicate in a manner that will foist that right political culture, because people should not be dying in exercising their constitutional rights.
I agree with you. Council.
Yes, I have always maintained that political violence does not know color, be it green or red. I've also said, when you set up for violence, you don't know who can be a collateral damage in the scheme of affairs.
Right.
So my politics has always been raising the issues with George, or maybe verbal violence, if there is any better word for, so that at the end, the electorate is given different shades for an informed decision. Because you see, the whole idea of a vote is contract. Who wants to contract without the benefit of information? So when you see us campaign, we are basically contracting with people. And that contract is to suggest that you give me your vote, I'll provide you water, I'll provide you electricity, I will improve the economy for you, I'll get you hospitals, I'll get you roads. So it's a bundle of rights that we are sharing. And violence has no place in it. Usually for me, the more violent you are, my understanding is that you have lost the plot. And so what happened in Agona West, I believe, should not repeat itself. There's always the need for constructive dialogue.
Right.
But you see, usually these issues of violence all comes in when or becomes entrenched when you build a certain culture of impunity. You see, if Edudzi engages in violence and Edudzi is allowed to face the full rigors of the law, the others watching will say, Anna Edudzi, the last time I okodi sanya mwansemi, okodemu. All other persons will be careful. For me, that's important. If you look at current happenings in the country, I don't think it serves us right. We must collectively work to ensure continuous peace. That said, I want to dovetail. This morning, you've heard about the event in the Upper East and
the Boku area.
Boku, Upper East and Northeast. You see, I have had the benefit of touring these communities. I've done, of the 15 constituencies in Upper East, barely a month ago, I did 11 out of that. And of the 11, in fairness, there's high incidence of poverty in those communities.
3FM,
I believe that we should wage a relentless war against poverty in those parts of the country. I also believe that persons with political influence ought to be careful what we do or what we say.
Okay, right.
Because it has the tendency to escalate. I understand that yesterday, and the paper reviews had it. In fact, the news portal, City FM and others, reports that armed men were stopping people plying the...
In fact, there's a message that a friend of mine sent me. He says, if there's anyone traveling to Accra or Kumasi from Bolga, please postpone your journey. People were lynched before my... I'm sure it is a beating because once you're lynched, you die. Before my very eyes, and vehicles burned few minutes ago. Kusasi Mampurugu dispute. The roads have been blocked. This is happening now, just before you enter Wale Wale. Please spread the information to save lives. Anyone coming to Boku or Pusiga tomorrow should be extra careful. Pusiga is getting its share of the gunshots this evening. And there's somebody who lives in Bolga who just traversed that place.
Places that you are mentioning, like I said, a month ago, I went as far as Kulungugu. From Miriga, Kulungugu, came back into Misiga, came back into Pusiga Esau. I did so from Boku straight to Kulungugu. From Kulungugu, I came back to Pusiga. Then I went to Tempane. Then from Tempane through Garu to Binduri. You understand, to Boku and the rest. In fact, I went to the Overlord, the
Naba
the Naba Azoka, the Boku Naba. I went to his palace to greet him as well. I believe, and listen, these are very great people. The news report I'm getting is that before you enter into Walwal, there's a town called Binsi. Yeah. Armed men are there. They will inspect the car. If you are Kusa, they'll shoot you. I mean, this should not continue.
And sometimes you may not even know who is a Kusa by looking at the face of someone.
It's not written on the person.
It's not written on the person.
Others,
How do you
know?
So innocent.
So I would plead that immediately these heads of the various security agencies must take steps to ensure that peace is restored to to those affected communities ASAP. And you see, we need to protect life and properties.
Right.
You don't want to have a breadwinner dastardly murdered in the name of such conflicts.
27 minutes after 9 on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. My guest, Abdulai Edudzi Tamakloe, Andrew Appiah Danquah of the Movement for Change, and Kamaldeen Abdulai of the NPP. The Republic of Ghana, in fact, the National Security Ministry has rejected the assertion that jihadists find solace here, they get a supply line from here to be able to do whatever they have to do. But come on, can we wish it away by just writing a statement, or do we need to drill down further? Because Burkina is closer to us. We know what's happening in Boko. We just finished discussing Boko. If there's already tension and, you know, the fertile ground and these people get in, we're gone.
Well, thank you very much. I think that I want to side with the national security here. You see, a lot of work goes into national security work, and it will interest, or it is in our interest as political actors not to politicize whatever that emanates from the national security outfit, because of our own security and the security of the vulnerable or the people out there as well. I would say that, look, in as much as we will seek to criticize or to, if you like, unearth some negatives within the operation of the national security, we should be careful the way we go about it. And not just only political actors, the media as well. National security, just as is enshrined in the Constitution, is a right that we must all have. And of course, the lawyers are here. We have a particular right to live or right to life that nobody can take away from us, granted to us by Almighty God. And we as human beings have decided, let's design a structure that would ensure that it will serve as a watchdog, okay, to cement this right so that we can have it. So it shouldn't be our wish at all to spell doom or to wish doom for ourselves. In whatever it is, even if you have a suggestion, and you are a media person, political actor, and you think that when you come out to say it, it will inflame, if you like, matters, put it on paper, make sure you address it to whoever is supposed to be handling our national security outfit, then of course they can act on it, as it were.
Do they listen?
This talk about...
Do they listen?
They do. Let me tell you. You see, there's one thing I can tell you, and I will say this without any equivocation. One of the best national security setups in West Africa, in the sub-region, is Ghana. It's a fact. I have attended so many meetings. As from where I sit as somebody, I'm privy to some, you know, little meetings that of course talk about sub-regional security and all that. Ghana is revered. Ghana is respected a lot. You see, and I don't credit this to only government of the day. I credit it to the system that we have built for our national security from time to now. You get what I mean? And that is why I'm saying that we should be careful as political actors, commentators, whatever it is, okay? The way in manner will poo-poo our national security and put it in a way, okay, that will give that person who is unscrupulous an idea that, oh, these people, they are weak. When we go, we'll be able to penetrate. Okay? It is how we communicate. So when I read this about jihadist thing, I laughed over it.
Why did you laugh?
I laughed because of the little information I have about our preparedness.
Okay.
That's why I laughed. I'm not saying that they cannot do it. Even sophisticated economists have had people, breaking through. America and all those places, we've had people even breaking through. Okay? I'm not saying that will happen here. We are not going to take it lightly, but of course, let us also encourage our people and let our people understand that our national security is also on top of its job.
Okay.
You see, places where we normally compare, like your intro did mention that we should be, of course, fairly, we should be afraid. Talking about Burkina Faso is our neighbor, Mali, of course, our neighbors, and what is happening there and all that. Togo even is not actually, but Togo has done so well in curbing that as well. La Côte d'Ivoire has done so well. Okay? I have my French background and I have so many friends there, so we I know what actually I'm talking about. I'm just being careful not to say certain things. But all I want to say is that, in as much as the national security says that, look, let us be, Let us, if you like,
we should take their word for it
and take their word for it. Let's do.
Okay.
But we have a role to play as citizens.
What
it
role
doesn't
is
mean that we should not also whisper. It doesn't mean that when we see something that is untoward, we should not mention it. And of course, the times that we are in, political time, is heated. The NDC wants to take advantage. MPP wants to take advantage. Movement for Change wants to take advantage. Everybody wants it. So when this goes bad, MPP will be blamed. Then I will get an opportunity to come, forgetting that, look, even if you get the opportunity, you have something at hand to handle. How to solve it. So in as much as the national security is saying that we are on, I think they are on. But we also have a role to play as citizens. Through 3FM, I say, look, wherever you are, see something, say something.
And what would the government do about it? In communication.
Sadly, when we say government is doing nothing, I mean, we shouldn't insinuate. Government is doing a lot.
I didn't say that.
National security, government is doing a lot.
Kamal, I didn't say government is doing nothing. I asked the question, and what will government do about it?
Obviously, you have reported.
Because when you see something, say something, and then what?
And then the government will act.
So you see the slogan out there in the public domain is see something,
and the government will act. No, so it means that simply, you see, we have a law in this country, Whistleblowers Act. It's a law. You get what I mean? When you see something untoward, Kamal is up to something. It's fishy. My brother, as a good citizen of this country, name him out.
Okay.
And name him in the way that will be properly done. The channels are established.
I hear
the police is there. The national security is there. The military are there. Intelligence are there. Let's find a way of informing them. And they too should be up to the task. And of course, they shouldn't also take things lightly. Like what they have said. If they poo-poo it and say, oh, it's nothing. You know, when in this country, under the NDC, when we were told that some jihadis had crossed through, Bole area, enclave, and came in, BBC reported it. And we could not even report it at that time. I stand to be corrected, but it wasn't under the regime of MPP anyway. Right. But it doesn't also mean that the government wasn't doing something. I am trying to say that even sophisticated economies, sophisticated countries have actually had their fair share of infiltration in terms of that. We should be careful about it.
I hear you. Appiah Danquah, would you side with the national security in this matter?
In fact, the last bit of what Kamaldeen even scared me. So way back before 2016, there were reports that
jihadists had found their way here.
Way back, so close to almost. You understand? Right. Then you see, for me, it tells me that just wishing it away
with a statement, 2 pages,
isn't the issue. But you see, I'm even more concerned how our politicians are allowing partisan consideration to weaken our security agencies. Because we've had so many stories of what's it called? The police, as in, I know the
recruitment and all of that.
Yes, and also in the military, in all our security agencies right now, people are being recruited there not on the basis of merit, but on the basis of their political affiliation.
And who can pay?
And who can pay, exactly. Now, what does is that then you are weakening your security or your ability to ward off. Because like this book issue we are talking about, so with all our intelligence, they didn't know that something of that nature was going to happen. Because the number one duty of your security agency is to deter, is to ward off some of these things, and that's why intelligence is a critical component of national.
That's correct.
Security. But it will happen because our politicians are using their political power, especially over the past 8 years. And I'm saying this unreservedly because over the past 8 years, you had the issue where people are having campaign and they're saying, listen, we are going to give you slots. And when I can promise I'll get 8 people in this constituency into our security agencies, these critical institutions. We want to infiltrate this very critical institution with our political familiar spirit.
In fact, we do that now. MPs and people show pictures with people in uniforms as able to get these number of people into it. I mean, we have done it already.
Exactly. So, government, when you failed to create a system where we can create jobs, already you've poisoned the economic environment. So the system itself is unable to create jobs, and then you hide that failure by weakening our security agencies by recruiting your party folks there. So I think that we need to be serious as a country. All of us, we need to be serious as a country. In fact, this issue about this jihad, it's been there for a very long time.
But as a country, Appiah Danquah, are we aware of the stranger danger you know, as citizens, as we sit here now, how would I know if this man is a jihadist? I mean, have we been awakened as a country?
No.
Beyond being told that see something, say something. What am I seeing? And how would I know if what I'm seeing is actually dangerous enough for me to say something about it?
A very good question, especially in the light of the Sahel areas having been taken over by now, in how we educate our children, how we educate the citizens. Right. There must be a deliberate effort, to cause us to be asking questions when we see strange things. But clearly, that's not the focus of. As in, the country is on an autopilot. Nothing deliberate, but that's a fact.
On autopilot.
Ghana is on autopilot in every sector. You take the economy is on autopilot. There's nothing deliberate. So as in to put
it is on autopilot.
I'm telling you that it's not about eschewing or trying to take advantage, but the fact of the matter is that the way we've managed the country, and it's not, and Kama, it's not just about what's called Nanado. Right. Nanado has taken it to a different level. It's not just about him.
Nanado has perfected it.
Now he's taking it to a different level. You understand? We are on autopilot. There's nothing deliberate. There's nothing deliberate. You understand? Okay. The country, and so on that autopilot note, I'll beg to ask leave of.
I hear you. Thank you very much. We're wrapping up in a bit anyway. Council, let me ask you, what do you think? Quickly, we're wrapping up in a bit. So
the Reuters story obviously is alarming, completely alarming. When I heard it, I was alarmed. I was alarmed in the sense that, the thing with terrorism is that it thrives where there appears to be poverty. It's easier to convince somebody.
It's a serious point.
Yes.
It is.
Wherever there is poverty.
Very serious point.
It is easier for you to propagate that messianic view that you are the one who has a solution to a particular problem. And for that matter, young men should join you. This man, the work he does, I'm a lawyer.
Right.
It would be difficult for you to tell me to leave the lawyering and come hold gun and kill or do something.
Right.
So there's a certain close relationship between poverty and terrorism. And so there had been a major conversation about finding ways to eradicate poverty, and by so doing, an empowered group of people would want to live the fullness of their work.
We've had that Al-Shabaab and all of those advances at
and so once the person had the benefit of working, makes decent income, lives well, the idea of going to take arms appears to be or will be suppressed greatly. I think the other bigger problem is that...
Before you get to that, I know there's a 2014 baseline survey which was captured in the national security document where Mr. Kandapa made a presentation. I remember so well, I was one of the editors that attended that meeting where he said the youth bulge, non-employment, is a national security risk. Yes. That matter has not been solved. Now he writes 2 sheets of paper to tell us that whatever is being said is not. I'm trying to connect that to what you just said about poverty, unemployment, and
but you see
the susceptibility
where
of
the statement for Reuters is categorical. The armed jihadists.
You use the microphone for me.
Sorry, the armed jihadists are using Ghana as the base for medical supplies.
Right.
Fuel supplies, among other things. Is a concerning matter.
Right.
I think that beyond just saying it is not true, the national security architecture ought to be giving us a bit more of assurance.
Right.
Look, like I told you earlier, I was born in a part of Ghana that shares border with Togo, particularly in Nkwanta. And growing up, we used to move from Nkwanta. There's a town called Dadiasi with custom people, police, and then we'll go to Dikbelo in Togo. So from Dikbelo, you can get car to Lamakara and the rest. Now, our borders are the most porous.
Yeah.
Our borders are the most porous. In fact, effectively, no monitoring. Because usually what happens is that it is where the major towns are that you have the borders.
Right.
So I'll just use maybe if you move.
We'll have to wrap up. So,
Yes, so if you move from Nkwanta right to Nyakpanduri through the Scarp, Northeast, the Scarp and others, those are border communities. You can pass anywhere and enter into town and go back. Almost zero monitoring.
Okay.
You know, so for me, that's really what we need to look at.
I hear you. Thank you so much indeed. Kamaldeen Edudzi Tamakloe is the head of the legal directorate of the NDC. Kamaldeen Abdulai is the deputy director of communications of the NPP. Welcome back home.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And have a nice day, Council.